Fix.
J-Rock Daddy.
LG Daddy, what's up, my friend?
Let's be realistic here for a minute. I want to be in congratulations mode first. I want to congratulate Mike Pettin on the fantastic job that he's done with this Cleveland Browns football team. We still have 7 wins this season, J-Rock, if my math's right.
That's, I hear you.
2 more wins than we had last season, 2 more wins from the season before, and we still have 3 games left. I do believe Brian Hoyer starts next week because he beat the Bengals, like you said earlier in the show.
That's I'm thinking.
First thing.
Yeah.
Second thing is I want to congratulate Ted Ginn Sr. on getting another guy ready for the NFL in Cardale Jones. And this Glenville High School should change the name of the Tar Heels team or the Tar Blotters and change it to the Football Factory, man, because this guy just keeps continuing to produce raw talent. That how many football players go from Glenville High School to Ohio State University and make it into the NFL? Not enough can be said about Ted Ginn Sr. and the football program that he has over there at Glenville, man.
Absolutely. I love Ted Ginn, man. Just don't ask him which are the names of some of his players. He's fun to interview because I get the same way. When you've got so many in your head, you go, yeah, the guy, the running back, the guy. But we always joke about him. Like, man, he's the best coach that doesn't necessarily know the names of all of his players, but it doesn't matter because he knows what they can do. Yeah, I'm having some fun. But, yeah, I love Coach Ginn.
Well, let's go back to the Browns now. Yesterday, if my math's right on this, we lost the game by 1 point, J-Rock Daddy.
Absolutely, and I have not even
begun
because,
there
you go.
Field goal
I knew where you were going. I was just setting it up. I said I haven't even begun to touch on the true play that really was the difference at the end of it, which was the chip shot field goal missed by Billy Cundiff. Now, I've got to say, man, I didn't even realize. Now, I knew that he had missed a ton of field goals in the last 6 weeks. I did not realize that yesterday made 5 games in a row. I just didn't realize it because, the season rolls one game into the next, 5 in a row where he'd missed at least 1 field goal. Browns had several kickers in this past week. They apparently felt that they didn't like any of the guys that they brought in for tryouts more than the guy that they had. But I'll tell you, clearly, there's an issue there. There's no way. I don't think there's any way that Billy Cundiff is on this roster by the time the Cincinnati Bengals get to Cleveland Browns Stadium. I could be wrong, but, Denver found now I get it. Connor Barth was out there for a reason, but there's kickers out there, and I'm pretty sure that the Browns would be in their best interest because you want to talk about having no confidence? Even if the offense still has confidence in Brian Hoyer, even if they start him at quarterback, you can't tell me that anybody on that team and the coaching staff has confidence that even if you get us into field goal range, that we're going to make the field goal. And when you look at the end of that game, now, I'm not going to say that field goal definitely would have won the game for the Browns because you have to think that if the Browns had those 3 points on the board, the Colts would not have tried the 2-point conversion there on the end, near the end. That would have added 1 more point. They would have put themselves in position to tie the game at the end and send it into overtime instead of winning the game. So the Browns still would have been tied instead of having lost the lead there. But so just that would have changed it. But regardless, 3 points on a chip shot when your offense is struggling. And that's what I meant, LG, at the beginning of the show when I said the Browns' margin for error is so small on offense that it amplifies any of the mistakes, whether it's a bad pass by Hoyer, whether it's a drop by the receiver. It's amplified because you only get 1 or 2 of those shots because it's such a small margin for error on this offense. And I think we saw that again. So when you do get your field goal opportunity and you can't convert on that too, at that point, you lost the game because we're living and dying on defense and field goals, and you've now taken that out of the equation. We're now we're not even a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest at this point.
Yeah, that's true, J-Rock Daddy. And another thing is you got to look at the play of Brian Hoyer ever since Josh Gordon has returned. Now, I realize Hoyer had a bad game right before Josh Gordon returned, But I'm telling you right now, man, that there's too much forcing going on in the Cleveland Browns offense. Let's force the ball to Josh Gordon. They've completely abandoned what got the Cleveland Browns 7 wins, and that did not look like forcing passes to receivers to make sure they got critical third down conversions, to make sure they got a first down, to make sure they kept moving them chains, to make sure that they could keep getting into the end zone, keep scoring on football drives. Now that Josh Gordon has returned, obviously the 10 weeks has hurt Gordon tremendously, more than anybody could have even considered, because this guy looks lethargic out there. He doesn't look like he's giving 110% effort. And I tell you, even on that long pass that they tried at the end of the game to Gordon, you know what? Last year, Gordon makes that play, man.
He should have made that play, and he should have known better. All he had to do was roll one step back and get to his feet, and he wouldn't have cost. Now, it didn't matter, but that timeout could have been important, that you cost the team by laying there. You're already out of bounds. All you would have had to do is get out of the way. And Bruce is right. He is a playmaker and a game changer, and I said that, but I cannot stress that what you just said, LG, and I swear I would say this whether Manziel is the quarterback, it doesn't matter. And I think this is one of the issues that's been why they haven't made the change either, is what you just said about Gordon. It's not Hoyer specifically. It's the offense as a whole. He coming back, truly, whether it's the sum. What's the old expression that we always say about the sum of the parts being more than the individual pieces? Josh Gordon's individual piece is bigger than any of the other guys as far as his talent, his athleticism, and his physical ability. But the sum of the rest of those guys together was better as a group than it has been since he's come back, because of everything you said. He's been lethargic. He's half-run routes. He's slowed down. He's ran completely wrong routes. Listen, that is the reality, and there's a reason yesterday that Josh Gordon was not targeted as much as he has been, and that he was pulled off the field on all the crucial third downs, because the Browns knew they could barely afford a mistake, and he was misrunning routes. He was doing all the things that you can't. Listen, with Brian Hoyer, and this is some people's argument for Manziel, is that he can create with his legs, because with Hoyer, and I think this is part of it. Somebody was asking, was it you, LG? We were texting yesterday, and I was telling you my thoughts on the difference between, because you were asking me, some people have said, hey, do you think Gordon's tanking it on purpose? I said, I don't think he's tanking on purpose. I think he would prefer Manziel because he's lazy in his route running, and with a improvising quarterback, you can be a lazy route runner because you don't have to run clean routes, because it's all about just running around and waving your arms until the quarterback can run around and find you. With Hoyer, because it's a set offense, you have to run your routes clean. You can't, if you don't run them clean, he can't he can't handle it as the quarterback. That's just the reality of it. There's guys that can improvise. There's guys that can think, and I'm not even saying Manziel can do that at the NFL level. What I'm saying is he's got to have his guys doing their job. It's got to be part of a team. That's the type of quarterback that he is. And so you're just killing him now, because if he's got 3 guys running routes, you got one of them running the wrong route. You got, Jordan Cameron, who yesterday also admitted that he had made some mistakes running routes. He cost the interception on the crossover in the end zone and took complete blame for that. So now you've got multiple. This is all why Manziel couldn't play, because you got multiple pieces all working out of sync. But I think you got a great point, Larry, in that this offense all effectively got worsened, which is crazy because of the talent. It got worsened when Josh Gordon returned to the team, because it got away from what made them so successful, which was Hoyer, play action, Gabriel, Benjamin, Hawkins running through, hustling, not being afraid to cross over the middle, all of that stuff. And you still saw flashes yesterday. You noticed it, the 27-yarder right after the missed throw to Gordon. A couple of other nice throws mixed in to the offense that was off-center. You noticed those? Those weren't to Josh Gordon. Those were to Taylor Gabriel. Those were to Andrew Hawkins and Travis Benjamin. And I think there is stuff to be said there for the Browns And you can't blame him. Hell, I would have tried to squeeze Josh Gordon into there too. I'm not acting like I knew better. I would have tried to put that talented receiver in there too. But clearly, it changed the soup, as they would say. It changed whatever was making it taste good, that changed it, and that hurts.
Well, the thing is, J-Rock, one of the things that made Brian Hoyer so successful as a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns was his quick release. And people don't understand, this is not street football. We're not just sending a guy down the field and you stand there and look for him, because you simply don't have the time in the NFL with as sharp as these defenses are that you're opposing today. It's out to kill that quarterback, get the pressure on the quarterback. I mean, one of the biggest things that makes people money in the NFL is how many times they can sack a quarterback, how many times they get him. Those guys get huge contracts that are those star defensive players. So Brian Hoyer is the kind of player that was released in that football well before that guy even broke into his final destination. If your guy's not getting into that final destination, yet you already released that football, it's like firing a gun at somebody. Once you pull the trigger, baby, it's too late.
No, I understand, LG. And again, we can beat this dead horse. I mean, it all added up to...
Unfortunately, people don't understand. Everything is Brian Hoyer's fault. No matter what happens to this Cleveland Browns offense, this is Brian Hoyer's fault.
Well, you know who does understand
Brian
that,
Hoyer's
LG?
Fault that they won 7 games already this year, too.
LG, I'm with you. I agree with what you just said, and I think the Browns also know that people think that a lot more of this is Brian Hoyer's fault than they... Do you really think that they're all going down on the Brian Hoyer Titanic? I mean, come on. Come on, seriously, man. Like, there is a reason why this has been allowed to continue, and it's because it is the most feasible alternative to what they have. So say what you want, and again, I'm all about when the decision comes, it comes, but we gotta wrap this up, LG, but I do agree with how you started this phone call, which is I think the decision stays Hoyer one more week. I really do, because he beat Cincinnati just 1 month ago, less than a month ago, actually, a couple of weeks ago on the calendar. Because of that, simple. He's won his last 2 against the Bengals. He's shown an ability to play well against the Bengals 2 seasons in a row, and they're going to give him the opportunity to go out there and see what he can do. And if they win, he'll be the quarterback for the final 2 weeks of the season, because you can say what you want. Because of Cincinnati's loss yesterday, the Browns remain a game and a half back. Now, obviously, they have to win out, and they need help in the way the division plays itself out. But, again, if you're dealing with how you look at the locker room, if you're dealing with how you talk to your players, that's the way they see it. So if you're going the other way, you just have to figure out how to make that fly too. And I don't know, again, where the locker room is on this today. But the fact that we have not heard... Think about this, you guys, and I got to wrap it with this. We live in Cleveland here. You guys hear this stuff all the time. Everything slips out of these locker rooms. Every day you guys are inundated with a story from a source. Remember just a couple weeks ago, Kevin Love told all these unknown people that his bags were packed and he already had his plane ticket to L.A. And Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, they can't play together. And Deion Waiters and Kyrie Irving fist fighting every night in the locker room and whatever it is. Every morning you wake up with stories from unnamed sources. Yet how come none of those are coming out of this Browns locker room about the quarterback situation? How come there have been, every year, there's leaks about this, that, and this coming out of the Browns locker room? How come you haven't heard all these stories about guys up in arms that they're watching their season get flushed away because the Browns won't switch to the savior? There's a reason for that, guys. And the reason
let me make one more final point, J-Rock, and then I'll let you go, okay?
Go ahead. But you know what I'm saying? There's a reason for that, Larry. There's a reason, and it's because there's a reason that we haven't heard that, and it's because those players all don't believe that anything will magically change. If they did, you can bet that they'd be elbowing me, that they'd be elbowing so-and-so from this station and going, hey, man, you didn't hear this from me, but we're tired of Hoyer, man. We can't stand this. You didn't. Everything else can be rumored, but there has not been one lick of that coming out. You know why? Because they may have been up